Now at 10, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
And thanks for joining us here on the Fox 61 News at 10. I'm Sarah Sanchez. We start on the weather with strong storms sweeping across the state earlier this evening. There's still some rain out there tonight. Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank here with what you need to know tonight about all this rain. Rachel, it looks like it's still pretty slow leaving the state. Yeah,
we're getting this nice, steady, gentle rain now. Earlier today, we had thunderstorms that came through, and my goodness, some of them were fierce with not only heavy downpours, but strong gusty winds and tons of lightning. We're going to see this rain continue to move through tonight, but the threat for severe weather is over. We did get one storm report in the state of damage from a thunderstorm. A tree fell onto a home. This was in Wethersfield. That was reported around 7 o'clock, but it certainly happened earlier as a strong storm was moving through the area. Probably one of the strongest storms in the state today, right around the greater Hartford area. Now we're just dealing with some of that leftover rain. We'll see some of those showers overnight and more clouds tomorrow than we had outside today. So I don't think it's as bright as the last couple of days. Temperatures will hold steady as we head through the overnight. There could be an early morning shower tomorrow. Otherwise, it's mostly cloudy, some slow clearing, little bit of sun here and there poking out. And even with a lot of clouds, it's still awfully warm with high temperatures rising into the mid and even upper 80s possible. Some late day sunshine, especially as we head closer to sunset. By Thursday, it is downright hot and humid all over again. So a repeat of today with another chance for late day storms. We'll talk about it. Your full forecast is coming up, Sarah.
Thank you, Rachel. Well, new tonight, the New Haven School District has a final budget and it avoids layoffs. But it comes with major changes like a school closure. Fox 61's Raven Blue breaks down what's in it, what's out, and what's still up in the air.
After weeks of crunching numbers, the New Haven School District has charted a course that will offset its multi-million-dollar deficit with new funding, reorganization, and the closure of a school. School officials say this is all needed to prevent the need to lay off staff and to continue providing quality education for its students.
When I entered into this challenge of mitigating this budget, I said from day one I wanted to preserve people, ensure that we continue to have the amazing personnel that we have.
New Haven Board of Education adopted the school district's budget that addresses a more than $23 million projected deficit that was presented by Superintendent Dr. Madeline Negron.
Even though all of this has been very painful, some of it might be larger classes, but still within the bounds of our contract, it still means that I should be able to have a highly qualified, certified teacher in front of every child.
To help decrease the projected deficit to $14.6 million, New Haven Mayor Justin Elliker and the Board of Alders increased the city's annual support to the school district by $5 million. State legislation provided an additional $3.6 million in excess cost grant recovery and special education support funding. That left the district to make changes and cuts across the school system.
At the end of this past school year, our staff was informed that Ms. Amy Migliori, co-op arts director and one of 2 assistant principals in our building, would be permanently transferred to Betsy Ross Arts and Design Academy.
Initially, the district proposed laying off as many as 129 staff members, but instead the district will eliminate 76 vacant positions. However, the closure of the Brennan Rogers School remains part of the plan, and those staff members will be placed elsewhere in the district. Maria Harris Page, a New Haven parent, worries this will put even more stress on families.
You have parents going all over the place late. You're beating traffic and buses and trying to get them on one school bus and another school bus, and if one is late, the other one's late, and you have to go across it. It's a lot.
Harris Page says the proposed budget doesn't add up, and she worries in the end her kids will fall behind because of the changes.
I can't just imagine 30 kids with no support, no funding, lacking resources, and you want my daughter to progress. You want the district goals to be met. I don't even see how.
The district is also waiting on an additional $3 million from the city to help bring the deficit down to $780,000. School officials say a change to the state's education cost-sharing formula will help fix the gap in school funding. In New Haven, Raven Blue, Fox 61.
There's been an emotional turn in the murder trial of Raul Valley. The defendant took the stand today, speaking in detail about the night that 17-year-old Jimmy McGrath was killed at a Shelton house party. Testimony has wrapped up and closing arguments are later this week. Fox 61's Alicia Hercules is in Milford with the latest from the courtroom.
Raul Valley got emotional on the stand as he recounted a violent attack that led up to the deadly stabbing. Valley says he got out of the car with De Silva to have his back. He says he and De Silva were approached by at least 50 students. He says he was attacked by several people. At some point during the attack, Valley says he pulled out the pocket knife he was given earlier in the night by Snyder.
After I took the knife out of my pocket, I started waving and just stabbing in every direction, just flailing my arm around.
Valley says he didn't realize anyone was stabbed or that James McGrath died. When cross-examined, the prosecution grilled him about a fight earlier that night in which the prosecution says Valley is seen on video hitting Ryan Hines over the head with a motorcycle helmet. However, Valley denied it. The prosecution also examined photos of Valley's injuries, citing that they weren't as serious as the injuries others had. When asked about stabbing McGrath, Valley maintains that he never intentionally stabbed him. Both the prosecution and the defense rested their cases. They'll give closing arguments on Thursday, and after that, the jury will deliberate. In Milford, Alicia Hercules, Fox 61.
Now to a Fox 61 follow-up. We're learning more tonight about emergency exit concerns at the Brass Mill Center in Waterbury. A couple people were reportedly trapped inside Apple Cinemas in the mall during one emergency. Fox 61's Joe Monte spoke with the city's fire marshal about what inspectors actually discovered, plus how the mall is responding.
I spoke with the fire marshal Tuesday afternoon regarding Waterbury's Brass Mill Center exit situation, where multiple people were stuck inside Apple Cinemas because of emergency exits that were sealed shut. The fire marshal shared with me some of the details about what was found during their inspection. Fire Marshal Tom Fitzgerald with the Waterbury Fire Department says the mall received its latest fire inspection on Friday, June 27th. He says they've followed through with their regular inspections each year. Fitzgerald says there were no other major issues in the mall like what was found at the emergency exits in Apple Cinemas. Fitzgerald says almost every building he or someone from his office inspects has minor issues. They report those issues to property owners and managers. Generally, they're given 30 days to fix anything found to be a safety or fire hazard. In situations the fire marshal determines are an elevated danger or are life-threatening, businesses are ordered to fix these problems immediately or risk facing serious repercussions. Fitzgerald says the mall not only complied with their office, but fixed the emergency exits and the lighting issues immediately. He says the mall did not face fines or penalties because they complied and responded quickly. It's important to remember that it is illegal to block or obstruct emergency exits. We have reached out to Apple Cinemas and we're waiting to hear back, but in the meantime, you can catch the latest on this story, including statements from the Brass Mill Center and Waterbury's mayor on our website, fox61.com. At the Brass Mill Center in Waterbury, Joe Monte, Fox 61.
Two people were arrested in Hartford. Police say they stabbed each other. This happened on Denison Street. That's off Farmington Avenue near the Mark Twain House. Police say they were called just before 4:30 p.m. today. Both are expected to survive, and we have calls out to learn more about what happened. The Office of Inspector General released a final report on a police officer's use of force during an arrest in January. They say he was not justified. Officer Brandon Thomas fired at a suspect during a chase in Windsor. That moment was caught on camera. You can take a listen here.
I didn't know you do that.
The man was not hit by that gunshot. He initially threatened to use a stun gun after he fired his gun. Officer Thomas eventually used the stun gun to take the man into custody. The Office of Inspector General ruled there was no reasonable basis for Officer Thomas to use deadly force, and now Thomas is charged with unlawful discharge of a firearm and reckless endangerment. The chief of the Windsor Police Department thinks charges aren't necessary and could do more harm than good. In a statement, he told us this was a mistake made in a high-stress, fast-evolving situation. The officer has served with the Windsor Police Department for just over 3 years and has no prior incidents involving questionable use of force. While we fully respect the role and authority of the Inspector General, we believe the facts in this case do not warrant an arrest or charges. Well, a popular beach in Bridgeport will stay closed for the time being because it's overrun with ticks. Bridgeport's Pleasure Beach will be closed for the summer. There are several tick species on the island, including the invasive Asian longhorn tick. So the city made the decision to keep people off the beach. There's also a protected bird species nesting there now, so city officials just want to play it safe. They want to reopen for 2026. Connecticut's standard electric rates dropped today, but that doesn't mean your bill will necessarily go down. Eversource now charges just under 10 cents per kilowatt an hour. United Illuminating customers pay around 11.7 cents. The state's Consumer Council says summer bills could still climb, though. Cooling systems spike energy use, especially during heat waves like what we saw last week. Officials are urging people to use less power and compare rates on Energize CT. Meanwhile, the Attorney General wants state regulators to block another potential rate increase. Attorney General William Tong told Pura to reject United Illuminating's $105 million rate hike. He says the company failed to prove its case. Tong called the request an insult to struggling families. UI already tried and failed to raise rates twice over the past 3 years. Tong says this latest attempt has zero justification.